Brad grew up in Lubbock, Texas, spending 7 of his early childhood years in the Northeast before returning to West Texas, the Northeast United States. He graduated from Lubbock Christian High School and went on to Abilene Christian University, where he earned a degree in accounting. During his time at ACU, he met his wife, Kay, and they together have faithfully walked with the Lord for 38 years. They have 2 adult children. Brad later continued his education, completing a Master's of Divinity degree from Lubbock Christian University in 2010. Brad has a long history of community involvement. He has served for 8 years on the board of directors for Big Brothers Big Sisters in Arlington, and has personally been a Big Brother 3 times, both in Arlington and Lubbock. Professionally, Brad is licensed as a CPA and as an investment advisor. His 40-year career spans private, public, and nonprofit organizations. For the past 18 years, he has served as the Chief Financial Officer for the Sunset International Bible Institute and played a key role in establishing the SIBI Foundation. Now the SIBI Foundation is now the investment and funding arm that supports the Institute and continues to administer it. And in addition to his financial leadership, Brad assists donors who wish to support SIBI and the foundation through gifts that extend non-traditional cash contributions. Let me offer a prayer. Father, we thank you for showing us your glory. Thank you for the workshop that you have given us, that we have been able to learn more about you and more about your son, Jesus. We thank you for Brad and his heart and his mind, that he can teach us what he knows so we can take that and benefit your kingdom. We thank you for Jesus, and it's through his name we pray.
Amen. Thanks, Brendan.
Normally I would say preach the word.
It's always dangerous to give the mic to a preacher, but it's even more dangerous to give the mic to your brother. So it's very dicey. Let's continue that discussion. What objectives would you like to achieve out of this class? We've heard from a few of you. Yes, sir.
Options for giving to 501c3s.
501c3s?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Are you going to touch up on that?
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Yeah, giving, what we're going to learn today will apply for 501c3s or for churches or really for any recognized charity in the United States.
Finding more ways to get the community together with things that are more appealing to the community.
Okay. Good.
Brad,
Yes.
one thing that I thought about coming here is, in the past, with the tax code changing this year, it's changed a lot. Previously, it really didn't matter how much we gave. We pretty much gave cash because we weren't using it we weren't able to give enough for it to be a tax benefit, but things have changed in the tax this year that we decided we would give checks
Yes.
instead, and so that's kind of something I thought we might address over this year.
Yep. Also, the big change happened in 2017, and some other things that were done this year as well. But 2017 was the big change. And we'll talk about that here in a second. Hey, this. Okay. We have historically in the church have given every Sunday when the plates are passed. And there's certainly nothing wrong with that.
no.
I mean, that's the way to give. We're called to give to the Lord's church.
Yeah.
And so checks are certainly fine. They've gotten a lot more expensive, though, to order. Right? I think I paid $50 or something for a box of checks.
Yeah.
And there's other common ways to give that we're familiar with. You know, you can give your car. We drop coins in the Salvation Army bucket. We can give clothes. We can help the homeless. We give in a variety of different ways. These are the most common ways that we're all familiar with. These are all laudable. Today we're not going to talk so much about these ways as we are about some different and unique ways that we can give to honor the Lord, to glorify Him, and to be smart about it. We're also called to be good stewards of the money that we have been entrusted with. First, let's go through some basics. Giving in the United States last year, 2024, was $563 billion, which is just over 2% of gross domestic product. And I'm going to put my email up on the screen at the end of this if you want this entire slide deck emailed to you. So don't feel you got to write all this stuff down unless you just want to. And I'll email it to you. Hopefully it's not too big. Try to figure out a way to zip it up. Giving increased, and individuals make up 2/3 of this number. These are individual givers. Here's a trivia question for you. Which U.S. state gave more to charity as a percentage of their income?
Texas.
Texas is a guess.
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Florida.
Florida.
New York.
Cynthia's wagging her finger at something. New York.
God's country, Texas.
Think, where do the Mormons live?
Yeah.
Oh.
Utah.
Yes.
Utah.
Over 6% of their income.
That's good.
But interestingly, also the Southeast. And why would that be, do you think?
Bible Belt.
That's where the churches are.
Yeah.
Bible Belt, yeah.
The Northeast gives some of the least.
Yeah.
Couple of basics before we get into some other things. There are what are called probate assets and non-probate assets. There are some assets that are governed by your will that have to go through probate. There are other assets that do not have to go through probate, and your will doesn't cover them at all. Can you think of what those would be?
Life insurance, annuities.
If you have named a beneficiary.
Right.
If you've not named a beneficiary,
Then it goes
to your will. But your beneficiaries trump whatever your will says. And this is really important because we were working with a divorced minister who had updated his will because of his divorce, but he died and did not update his ex-wife off of his life insurance policy. And his executor said, well, the will says this. And I said, well, the beneficiary says this. They eventually got it fixed, but it was a mess. So change your beneficiaries. If you have an IRA account, if you've got a brokerage account, you've got a bank account, got a life insurance account, just change the beneficiary. Title will pass automatically at death, and you don't have to wait for everything to get probated. Everything gets hung up.
Brad,
Yes, sir.
so if you have an IRA or 401k with a beneficiary, does that bypass probate?
It does. Anything with a beneficiary designation.
I knew my
It's
mama.
still in your estate, but it bypasses it.
My mama, when she died, she says, Brenda, she says, you've got to get life insurance so you can have you can be buried. I have not enough money to be buried. And nobody has to worry about it. You're taken care of. And if your bills are all paid, you paid your bills off, don't worry about it. Everything's taken care of. And she said that's the only way you can do it to make sure nobody else is left with.
Yeah, or you just have a savings account.
Oh, yes, but the savings.
Depends on how much you want your funeral to be, but you're right. A small life insurance policy is a good way to do that,
Yeah.
as long as it's not too expensive to maintain. You don't want to pay $500 a year for a $10,000,
No.
policy. But yeah, that's a good.
I like my
That's a
mama
decent.
did $9.95 a month.
And a lot of this is going to be what we're
Taken care of
comfortable with doing as well. Everybody has an estate. What you talking about, Willis? The good news is the estate tax exemption. I mean, if you have a taxable estate, it can be 40% of everything above that exemption. The good news is the estate tax exemption is so high that most people don't have a taxable estate, but everybody has an estate. And we've already talked about probate assets and non-probate assets. Okay. We've talked about this. We talked about cash. And we've touched on it, but Paul told the Corinthians, the first day of every week, set aside money, keeping with your income. 1 Corinthians 16:2. And there are different ways to give, though, maybe in ways you haven't thought of. We've talked about this, okay? Beneficiary designations. I've got a slide in a little bit later that will kind of guide us in what types of assets should I leave to my heirs, because not all assets are made the same. Okay? It may be that you want your charity to receive the house, and you want your kids to have the IRA, and that's just backwards, and we'll talk about why that is here in a minute. Update your beneficiaries. That's the first thing you can do. First thing, if you want to tell your congregation, hey, I need to plan for my estate, just update your beneficiaries to take care of that first. That's the easy thing to do.
If you have multiple beneficiaries that you want to designate persons to, can you do that? And how would you do that?
Yes. You would have a beneficiary designation form,
Okay.
and you can name primary beneficiaries that are the ones who would immediately receive your bank account or brokerage account or whatever. But you can split it up. We've had one that had 5. They had 5 kids, and you just name them and say, I want each of them to get this percentage.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not hard. And then if they all die, or if your spouse dies, you have what's called a contingent beneficiary that you also name as well. Yes, sir.
I was going to address the contingent.
Okay. Yeah, so you might name your spouse to receive the asset, and the contingents might be your kids.
Okay.
Or the contingent might be the charity. Or charities. And then any other questions on that, comments? Update your will, of course. If you don't have a will, it's good to have, especially if you have little kids, or you are the custodian or the guardian for a grandchild or a niece or a nephew. Tell the court when you die how you want these things to be handled. Who's going to take care of your grandkids or your kids or whatever?
How do you nullify a will?
How do you nullify it?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not an attorney,
Okay.
but
So just go to a lawyer.
you mean to contest a will?
Just stop a will.
Maybe
Yeah.
stop one that she's made before.
Yeah. That I-
Oh yeah, you would just you would just do a new document
Mhm.
that says this will and reference it and say this is no longer in force. But really, the best way to nullify a will is just to do a new will.
Just make a new will?
Yeah,
Okay.
and say at the very beginning, this supersedes
Any-
anything in verbally or orally communicated in the past. This is my last
New will
will,
and testament.
dated. And one of the best wills that courts will uphold are what are called holographic wills.
Yes.
You write it by hand
Mhm.
because they know it's in your handwriting. That's a lot better than having a written will in some cases, because my brother could have printed my will and just be happy to.
And just signed your name. Right?
Okay, so change your beneficiaries, Kenzel. Make sure your beneficiary designations are right. Update your will. These are all basic things. Life insurance, we've talked about this. Make sure your beneficiary's right. Okay, I mentioned issue about our divorced minister who forgot to change his beneficiary from his ex-wife. It may be that you have an estranged child that maybe you want to remove. I don't know. Or you have a new child that you want to add. Just make sure those are periodically updated. Y'all have experience with what? Now we're kind of getting into some newer things. Y'all know what a life estate is? It's kind of a way to put a beneficiary designation on your house. And we've got several donors that have done this at SIBI. And by the way, let me stop here. This is not some kind of fundraising thing for SIBI. Okay? I want y'all to know that. I'm not trying to raise money. There's not going to be an ask at the end of this. This is for your information. Okay? A life estate is a way to put a beneficiary designation on your house.
Okay.
So what you do is you say, I'm going to give my house to this other person or to a charity while I'm alive, but I'm going to reserve legally what's called a life estate. Okay? You stay in the house, you're responsible for all the upkeep, you pay the taxes, you pay the you take care of the yard, you fix the fence where the dog ate through, you do all that stuff, but when you die, it doesn't go to probate. It goes directly to who is your joint tenant, if you will, a tenant, your remainder. Legally, it's called a remainder man, who your remainder is. So
You don't have to pay taxes on it.
you have to pay. You have to pay.
You still have to pay
you still pay taxes.
No, taxes, you have to pay taxes again.
Not estate taxes, but hardly anybody's going to have to pay estate taxes unless your estate is over. If you're married, it's $15 million. Okay?
Well, you don't gotta worry about that if you're a preacher.
Right. That's right. Yes, of course. If you're preaching, you're in the big dollars. And,
It's a write-off. A write-off.
right. And so what happens is, let's assume that you have a house that you want to leave to charity when you die. You say, I'm going to leave it to charity now. So I don't have to have my executor mess with it.
Oh, that's so smart.
I'm going to give it to the children's home. Now, I'm going to still live in it, and you get a tax deduction, at least a partial tax deduction, for the value based on your life expectancy. Okay? So, you got a $200,000 house, and your life expectancy is another 20 years. You might get a tax break for $60,000 to $80,000.
That's cool.
Maybe. I mean, these are tax questions with your CPA, but that's called a life estate.
How, assume that you would notify the beneficiary when
Yes.
they were named, and how would
Yeah.
they be notified when you passed? I mean, is there an executor that's named that's responsible for that?
Yeah, they would probably notify you. There's no automatic, there's not an automatic, yeah. But yeah, that would be, a lot of church members aren't good at communicating their stuff, to people. They like to be private. I'll get, one second. And then, what happened, I'm going to give my life estate to the church, or I'm going to reserve a life estate, give it to the church, and you tell the church that. And so you would think they would know if you're going to die when you die. And then automatically you go to your taxing authority, your appraisal district online, and it'll show that it's been retitled. And it'll show the retitle. It's just a deed transfer is all it is that's done while you're alive. Yes, sir.
Curiously, if you do that, what's the?
You can't give it to charity, reserve a life estate, and then move out and rent it. You couldn't do that either.
Or sell the property for that matter.
Right.
So you wouldn't wanna do it when you're like my age. do
No.
you? Because, yeah, circumstances change.
You're going to have 42 things happen to you, and you're probably going to move anyway, sir. For $10,000, and now it's worth,
$3 million.
yeah. We'll say $1 million just to be conservative. 10,000 to $1 million. and you want to give that $1 million to the church. Okay, there's a couple ways to do that. You can sell NVIDIA stock and then write $1 million check to the church, but what's the problem with that?
You incur pay $400,000 in taxes.
Taxes.
If it's held long term, you'll pay 15% of the gain, and so maybe it's not 400, but it's a big number.
Long term, so.
It's a big number, and so you're going to have $1 million capital gain. The government gets 150 of it. You've got 850 left. The church only gets 850.
Yeah.
It's not a bad gift, but they could get $1 million if you did what?
Give them stock.
Gave the stock. Well, doesn't the church have to pay tax on that?
No.
No, they're tax exempt.
Yep.
Okay, so the strategy is if you have appreciated stock, artwork, land, this would be complex, but even like a small business or mineral rights or something, precious metals, gold, silver, those are the best currency you have. Because the church will get it, or the charity will get it, and then they'll sell it. They'll convert it into cash tax-free. Okay, that's an appreciated asset. Some of you may be familiar with donor-advised funds. Okay, what's a donor-advised fund? Donor-advised funds have become popular because donors want to give to charity, but they might not want to give this huge amount to charity all at once because maybe the charity doesn't need it all at once. Maybe they need it over a span of years. So what they do is they go to Schwab or Fidelity or pick your financial custodian, set up the Kennard Donor Advised Fund. They're calling right now saying you've set it up. The Kennard Donor Advised Fund, because you've just come into $500,000 and you want to set that aside as your little charitable fund over here. But you don't want to dump $500,000 on your local church or the children's home all in 1 year. All they may do is put it in the bank. So put the $500 into your donor advised fund, get the full tax deduction this year, then it will grow over time, tax free, and then you can make grants out of that fund over time. So maybe your $500,000 gift into your fund turns into a lot more, maybe $1 million or more, over time. Donor advised funds, they're very easy to set up. Fidelity, Vanguard, Schwab have these funds. Yes, sir.
Yeah, there's some Christian faith-based ones as well. Like we use National Christian Foundation.
There are. NCF's got a good one. Correct. So some of us are familiar with the donor advised funds. I think they're really good and allow for you also to set aside so you don't spend it. And you get a tax deduction in the year that you contribute it.
And you control who receives the funds.
You control it.
You're total control of that.
Technically and legally, you have to make a grant request to the fund, but I haven't seen them reject one ever. Sometimes they say, okay, we haven't heard of Sunset International Bible Institute. And you say, here's their tax ID number. So, okay. And then they will write a check from your fund directly to the charity, whatever it may be. It can be a church, and it doesn't even have to have a tax ID number. It can be a 501c3, but it doesn't have to be.
Really?
Churches are recognized in the United States as acceptable charities.
Brad, also, I think if you were to die with one of these set up, you have a beneficiary set up that's assigned to that, so.
Correct, so,
whatever that beneficiary is, that whole fund would go to that beneficiary, right?
And they.
or multiple beneficiaries.
Or multiple, okay.
Yeah, you can set up, hey, here's my Kennard fund, it's got.
If you set this up for a church and the church closes the doors.
You can change your beneficiary. Yeah, it's just like if you named a beneficiary on a brokerage account and your spouse died, you just change the beneficiary designation.
You said that like writing the grant proposal, that's more formality.
Oh, and it's not really a proposal.
It is.
You go into their website and say, make a grant. And you say, who do you want this to go to? Children's Home of Lubbock. Enter. What's the address? Who's their contact information? I think when you initially do it, they ask for their tax ID number, but that's public information. And they'll give it to you if they know they're going to get some money. So no, you don't write a proposal. You don't have to convince them that this is a good charity. Yes,
Can you
sir.
write that off if it's a 501c4?
In some cases, yeah. Let's talk after.
Okay.
We'll talk about the 501c4s. Those are kind of unique. But yes, in most cases. Okay. I'm going to stop here because let me review. Before 2017, more charitable givers in the United States were able to itemize their deductions. Okay, you know what I mean by that? They would. The IRS gives you a standard deduction.
Right.
Before 2017, if you were married filing a joint return, the standard deduction was around $12,000. If you were single, it was half of that. It was $6,000, give or take. And so, if you had property taxes, mortgage interest, or charitable contributions that exceeded that standard deduction, you could fill out a separate form and itemize your deductions, and you write it off your tax return. Great. A lot of people did that. Oh, I gotta get my receipt for tax deduction. I gotta give it to my CPA. Well, in 2017, what happened was Trump gets elected and takes away the personal exemption and doubles the standard deduction, which is a good thing, but it just means that now instead of $12,000 that the IRS is giving you for free, they're giving you $24,000, and that hurdle is a lot higher to reach if you're a charitable donor. And so they say, yeah, I'm just going to take the standard deduction. It didn't reduce charitable giving much at all, which a lot of analysts and economists thought that it might. But the reason that's important is because since most people are not able to deduct their charitable contributions separately anymore, then it makes sense for this next item, this next opportunity is much more important. Okay, has anybody ever done one of these? You've done a QCD?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Every-
QCDs.
Every donation.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's one of the best things Congress did. The few good things Congress has done over the last 40 years. This is one of them. About 10 years ago or so, I don't know the date, if you had an IRA, not a Roth IRA, but a regular IRA, a rollover IRA, a traditional IRA, when you turned 70 and a half years of age, you had to start taking required minimum distributions out, pay tax on it. Okay. And in some cases, that's a large amount. You had to take money out. A lot of people use that as their charitable donation. Hey, I've got to take out $8,000 a year. I'm just going to use that money to give to church. So no problem. They took their $8,000, showed it as income, and then $8,000 to charity, they wrote it off their taxes. No problem.
And received money back.
Yeah, and so it's like you had no taxable income effect. But since 2017, what's happened is most people don't give a lot of money so they can itemize their deductions, but they still have to take their required minimum distribution. So what some people are doing unknowingly is they take their required distribution, pay tax on it, write the check to charity out of that, but they can't deduct it. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying? Well, Congress said, you know what? We'll let you take money out of your IRA. Since at church and SWA has dozens of donors that give in this way.
Yeah.
It's a huge deal. And it saves hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in tax. However, there are some in the church, and I don't blame them for this, not directly. There's some in the church that say that's unscriptural. Because God told us, Paul told the Corinthians, you need to set aside every week.
Well,
I'm just telling you.
okay.
I'm just telling you.
Brad, say that again?
I get paid once a month and I do it once a month.
Kinzel, what I've heard from more than one person.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't feel right about taking money out once a year or twice a year and sending it to church because I'm told to give every week. Okay? And if people feel that way, that's fine. That's their deal. I think it's not very smart. Because I think what we encourage a lot of people to do is figure out what your required minimum distribution is. Let's say it's $8,000. And if you were going to give $8,000 to church anyway, just give it. Just give out of that RMD. And if you want to, give it in January. And then you can set aside every week money back into your savings account. Right? Money that would have been out of your checking account. Why not do that?
The investment companies, Fidelity, Schwab, you can write a check from your IRA directly to the charity.
That's correct.
And you can do it as often as you want to.
Yes.
You can do it every week.
You have to ask for what are called check writing privileges.
Yes.
And they will send you a bunch of checks. I think the initial batch is free,
Yeah.
but they may charge you for them. But yeah, you can say, I need 52 checks.
Yeah.
And you can write it out of your IRA
Makes sense.
if you want to do that. Okay. All I'm saying is,
Yeah.
Kinzel is still questioning his
But
brothers and
set aside a sum. So looks to me like you can set it aside, you know where you're gonna give it, and once a month, once a year, you give it.
Yeah.
Well, it says set aside.
I did not give you the whole verse here. And I did that intentionally. The whole verse is what you just said, Kinzel.
That's right.
It's this.
So when I come.
Saving it up so that when I come, no collections left to be made. So, and that's kind of what you've done with your IRA, I think. But if somebody has a conscience problem with that, that's fine. This isn't a salvation issue.
Right.
We're not going to have a we don't think. We're not going to have a workshop trying to condemn people.
Is that next year's?
Next year's workshop. Why you're wrong about this verse. That'll bring a lot of people to the workshop.
So, the problem I run into is that QCD that you make to the church or charitable organization shows up on your W-2.
You mean your 1099?
It doesn't show up separately, they don't break that out, it still shows the full RMD.
You have to tell your CPA.
You have to tell your CPA.
That's correct.
That, because I caught my CPA in this last year, they did not take that into consideration.
You gotta tell
so I had
them.
to repeat and do it correctly.
Yeah.
So what he's saying is, let's say his RMD is 20,000, but he's only going to give 10 to the church. So he takes out 20. He took out 10 for himself, 10 went to the church, but when his 1099 came out at the end of January, about this time of year, it shows that he took 20,000 out. Now it should check a box that says taxable amount not determined.
Double check.
It should. It should. But if your CPA is going to put down 20,000, unless you tell him, no, I gave 10 to the church.
And usually you should have documentation of that.
Should have documentation of
They want to
that.
audit you.
Okay, we got
Usually you have to hand that in along with, when you're doing taxes, everything has to be handed in.
a lot of
The
charities.
verification of what you have given to the church. You know, those things come in the mail, they give you a,
This is a separate
Statement.
document that the charity should give you that says you gave as a QCD.
Yeah.
Because it's also not tax deductible.
okay.
Okay, you can't write that off your taxes, but it's not taxable to you.
Right.
Okay, we got 10 minutes. Did you know that you can give and receive income back from the charity that you just gave to? Say what?
Say what?
No. Cynthia?
I'm not with you on that one. I didn't know that one.
Well, you got to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. What are you talking about, Willis?
Brad, what you talking about?
What you talking about? We've got several donors, again, who set up annuities. Okay, this is a huge deal. It was an even bigger deal when interest rates were 0. And I had my money sitting in a CD making 0.0. And you're going to give to charity anyway, but you need some income. Okay, well, these are, again, everything I'm talking about here is legal. This isn't some, screwball.
Yeah, it's not a shell game.
It's not a shell, yeah. You're not going to get in trouble. These are very popular. And so what you do is you write a check to the charity,
Okay.
sign a 2-page document that says, I'm giving money to you in exchange for an interest rate, fixed income amount for the rest of my life. And the rest of you and or your spouse's life. You can do a 1-life annuity. You can do a 2-life annuity. And the rates are all based on your life expectancy. Okay, so the older you get, SIBI did one 3 years ago for a lady in her 90s, and the interest rate was over 9% a year. Okay, and it's all because her life expectancy is short. But yeah, here's one, age 75. I think the current rate for a 75-year-old single annuity right now is 6.2%.
So then the charity goes out and buys insurance, invests that money? How does that work behind the scenes?
Charities do different things with it.
Okay.
Charities, depending on the amount, the
Yeah.
charity might sell it to an insurance company.
Uh-huh.
What SIBI does is we invest it in the SIBI Foundation.
Okay.
And we have the foundation write checks out annually to the donors.
To the donors.
Correct. So in this example, let's say somebody gave $200,000 to the charity, they would receive back $11,600 a year for the rest of their life.
Okay.
Is that underwritten by a life insurance company, or is that just from the charity doing its own annuity?
Yeah, charities will do it one of 2 ways. They'll either sell it to the insurance company and have them underwrite it, or the charity will retain it. As in our case, our foundation does it.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And does the interest rate fluctuate? No. So
Locked in.
the older you get in, the higher the rate.
No matter what interest rates do in the market.
Right.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Which might be a good time to do this now, since interest rates, most people think they're going to decline a little bit. Depending on what assets are given into the annuity, depend on if they're taxed or not. If you just write a check, the $11,600, you'll get a big tax deduction for, depending on your age, a portion of what you're given. but every year the annuity is taxable to you. This is not a bad way either to give appreciated assets. Right? You've got that 100,000 in NVIDIA stock we talked about. Give it to the charity in the form of an annuity. That way, some of the money you get back will be long-term capital gain, taxed at 15%. Okay, so that's an annuity. Like I said, the SIBF Foundation has several of these donors who have done this. It requires a little administration on behalf of the charity, but it's not onerous.
Do people use this as a spin down if they need to reduce their assets?
Yes. Yes, they do. I mean, it's a gift to the charity, just like a normal charitable gift, but you've got an annuity coming back. The only risk with this is if you give to a charity and they go bankrupt. It could be underwritten by an insurance company, but if you wanted to protect against that, you can also set up a charitable remainder trust. These are a little more complicated, but it's the same idea. Kennard, instead of setting up the Kennard gift annuity, I'm going to set up the charitable remainder trust. It's a separate legal entity over here. So I'm going to put it in the trust. I'm going to get income for the rest of my life. When I die, whatever's left in that trust, higher or lower, goes to the charity. And that will survive the bankruptcy of the charity. This is a little more complicated because you got to file a tax return every year. Somebody has to file the tax return that costs a few $100s. So you don't want to do this for $10,000, but you might want to do a gift annuity for $10,000. We're not going to talk too much about lead trusts, but same idea. I'm going to give money to a lead trust because I want the charity to get the money now for the next several years. Let's say, but you really want your money to go to your kids or to your family or to your grandkids or to your spouse.
No, not really.
But not really. Speak for yourself, brother.
That's right. Speak for yourself, brother.
Let's say for the next 10 years you want the children's home to get money,
Okay.
or your church or whoever. You set up a lead trust. The charity gets the money for the set period of time, and then at the end of that time, it reverts back to the family.
Okay.
A little more complicated to set up. And again, you don't want to do this for small amounts. Okay, we talked about this a little bit earlier. I know we're going kind of fast. But like I said, I'm going to put my email up at the end and I'll email you this slide deck. Okay, so in my will, I've got assets going to charity. I've got assets going to my kids and family and whoever. Which assets should I give them? Any ideas? Are there differences?
Absolutely.
Okay, what kind of assets do you want to give charity? If you're going to give, if you got a choice,
High tax.
do what?
High tax.
Yes, you want to give any assets that are taxable to charity first. You want to name your charity as the beneficiary of your IRA. You want to name the charity the beneficiary of your 401k, of any other taxable asset you can think of. Those are the two biggies. And then give your kids all of the other stuff if you wanted to do that.
Brad, would you say that again? Okay, you got it there.
If an individual inherits an IRA, they have to pay tax on it for the rest of their life. If it's a non-spouse who inherits the IRA, they've got to withdraw the entire thing in 10 years.
Yeah, okay.
So it's taxable to them, but it's not taxable to the charity.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, so you want to give your giant IRA to charity and give the house to the kids. That's the best, that's the smartest tax
Okay, okay.
way to give. Give all of your, give the charity the IRA, give your kids the bank account. Give your charity the 401k, give your kids the Roth. Roths are not taxable. Give your kids the house and the car and the baseball card collection and your socks and all that stuff. Don't give those to...
Fine art. In other words, if you had fine art, you'd give that to your kids too? That would be a write-off?
Probably.
Okay.
It's not really going to be a write-off because
Alright.
you're not going to have a taxable estate, probably.
Okay.
Does this make sense? Kind of? Okay, that's kind of a broad
No, that's good.
idea. Why don't more donors use these? They don't know about them, they don't understand them, their advisors don't know or understand them. Many advisors don't have
Tax information.
they don't have the best interest of their client
Yeah.
in mind, because this might mean giving up assets that they control.
That's true too.
Or they get a percentage of everything.
Or they get a percentage.
Yes.
Right. Law schools don't teach these things. They don't. There's not a class in law school on charitable giving. How's that possible?
Yeah.
So when you give your children, I thought, for some reason, I had thought that they had to pay taxes for property and stuff like that. Like your family dies, or your father and mother die, and they give you the land.
Now, in your very progressive state of Minnesota,
Yeah.
you might have an inheritance tax. I don't know about that.
Okay, I thought
Most,
there was
do what?
Oregon does.
Oregon has an inheritance tax?
Yeah.
Most states, and the feds,
See.
there's not a federal inheritance tax. You don't pay tax based on what you receive.
Okay,
It's the giver, if their estate's big
Yes.
enough, that has to pay the tax.
Yeah. I was thinking it was a double taxing,
Is
Yeah.
that, for example, if land is appreciated or your home is appreciated, when you receive that in your estate, the value of that is passed at the current market value.
It's called a step up in
And you don't
basis.
have to
Basis,
deal
yes.
with a capital gains
Heard of
on
that.
appreciated value.
That's correct.
That's a huge benefit.
It's a huge benefit, and one the prior administration tried to take away. They wanted the step up in basis to be eliminated, where you'd have to pay capital gains tax upon the death, which would have created a burden for a lot of small farmers and ranchers. Okay. That's really all I've got. I see Animal has a question, but he's gonna have to wait. This is really fast, and it's kind of an overview, but hopefully it gave you some things to think about.
Think about, yeah.
Some takeaways. Takeaways real quick. Make sure you do these things.
Yeah.
If you're over 70 and a half or know anybody that's over 70 and a half and they're going to give to charity anyway, give from your IRAs first. There's no reason not to do that. That's the best currency you have. Yes, sir.
So I was gonna ask, if you have a congregation that has a number of elderly people in it, who would you bring in to speak to that congregation? Because a lot of this is new even to me.
Somebody who just has a basic knowledge of what I just presented.
How would you feel about making a trip to
That's what I
London?
was saying. You just walked into that one.
Do you have a good steak? Steak
Yeah, we
place?
can do that.
We can, yeah.
In El Paso, we do.
Yeah.
And I've done that before. This is the presentation that I've given to congregations before.
Are life insurance policies considered part of the estate?
Yes. Unless, yeah, I mean, if you, yes, they are. The short answer.
Okay.
You can set up a life insurance trust, but a lot of times we get too cute and try to create stuff that we don't have to. And so, yeah, so if you've got $1 million life insurance policy, that'd be part of your estate. But again, you've got to have a lot of assets for it to even be taxable. And let's assume that you had a taxable estate. Let's assume that your net worth was $25 million. All you would do to avoid the estate tax is to do what?
Is that a trust?
Give to charity to get below that, because you get a charitable tax deduction on your estate tax return. So now, there's no reason to pay estate tax.
Were you gonna get to church finance and how churches should receive gifts? Are you gonna talk about like Zelle and
No.
Push Pay?
No, because I'm not an expert in those things.
Okay.
We've gotten into that at SIBI,
Uh-huh.
and it's really frustrating.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
We were going to use Venmo, but at the time we didn't have a corporate account, or they didn't have a corporate option
Uh-huh.
for Venmo. We use PayPal probably more than anything else.
Does that work pretty well?
It works pretty well. There's fees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your congregants need to know whenever they give online, there's a fee that the church pays.
Yeah.
It's 2 to 3%, maybe more, depending on what you use. But the $100 they're giving online is $98 to the church.
One option for that, if you guys are looking, is called Zephy.
Zephy?
Yeah, it's a nonprofit.
I think I've heard of that.
Yeah. So
Is
it's
it-
pretty much the only one that doesn't out of the box charge fees, but it's a little complicated.
Is it, now spell it right?
I can look it up, but yeah.
All of us have the opportunity to give in these ways, or know somebody that could benefit from that. Here is my email address.
Oh, there it is.
Down at the bottom there. Just send me an email, say, hey, send me the slide deck. And I'll send you the slide deck.